Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lions Den with another news and commentary. I'm doing another update of the Michael Dean case. Now, I did back-to-back stories on Michael Dean ever since this incident happened. For those of you who don't know who Michael Dean was, he was the brother who was shot and killed by Temple police. He was the father of 3 girls. One of the girls who just turned 6 years old the same day that he was murdered by police. And, remember I told you in the previous, story that the officer claimed that he came out of his car and he's going straight towards the officer, which we really don't know why, but he went straight toward the officer, and that's when the officer shot and killed him. Now, and then we heard another story that an officer went to Michael Dean's family's house, and they told them that he was dead, but they didn't give any information on what happened to him, let alone they didn't give him where was his body when it happened. So there's more stories is coming out, and then as I told you that one of his daughters just celebrated her 6th birthday. And he was saving up to get a birthday cake for her. And then all of a sudden, her birthday would never be the same again because she would never see her father again. Now, there's new information now on this story about the Michael Dean case. And I want you to listen to this article because now detective is claiming that he didn't have a gun. He didn't even pose a threat to the officer. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So if that is the case, why did the officer shot him? So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. And this article comes from Temple Daily Telegram. It says, father wants answers in officer involved shooting death. Michael Dean's mother claimed a Temple police detective told her that her son didn't have a gun and didn't pose a danger to the officer who shot him. But that is interesting because, the previous story was that, he came out of the driver's side of his car and charged the officer, and that's why the officer shot and killed him. But then turn around and, like I told you guys before, that another officer knocked on Michael Dean's family's house, said that Michael Dean was dead. They didn't explain to him what happened to him. Didn't explain to him where was his body. And now all of a sudden, the detective told the family that he didn't have a gun. And he didn't even pose a danger to the officer who shot him. Let me continue reading this article. Dean, 28, of Temple, died Monday night near Southeast HK Dodging Loop and Little River Road after he reportedly was shot in the head by a Temple police officer during a traffic stop. The officer whose name hasn't been released, which I'm going to explain to that officer later, wasn't injured. He has 9 years of experience. I'm going to stop you right there. They still didn't even identify who the officer that shot and killed Michael Dean. And it seems to me that what they're trying to do is like I told you before in one of my videos, this is straight up cover up. Because obviously that, in other previous cases, they already know who the officer's name, badge number, and everything. But in this story, they still didn't identify who the officer was. And then the last time I heard from this officer that he was placed on paid administrative leave until the investigation was complete. And still they don't want to know who the officer that shot and killed Michael Dean. This article continues saying that if my son was in the wrong, so be it, Christine Dean said Wednesday. But why is he dead? He didn't deserve to be shot down. Nobody can give me answers. If he was in the wrong, there would a whole story out there, wouldn't there? Temple police released only basic details about the incident and referred media questions to the Texas Department of Public Safety. The investigation was turned over Tuesday to the Texas Rangers and Bell County District Attorney's Office. When asked Wednesday if Dean was armed, DPS Sergeant Brian Watchko declined a comment. Yeah, he declined a comment because he know he wasn't armed. And on top of that, he wasn't even posed a danger to the police officer that shot and killed the man. That's why he would decline a comment. Moving on. At this time, the investigation is still ongoing. Any new information will be released when warranted as to not compromise the investigation, Watchko said. Temple Police didn't respond to that telegram question by press time. Things just don't add up. Dean's mother said she was told by a police detective her son didn't pull over right away, and when he got out of the car, he walked towards the officer who shot him. She feels like Michael was trying to make it to a gas station before he pulled over. Christine Dean said, things just don't add up. He knows not to get out of the car when he pulled over. And people said they saw the police officer pull Michael out of the car, she said. The people she would normally look to for answers. The Temple Police Department isn't telling her anything, Christine Dean says. Temple has washed their hands of it. We told to contact the Texas Rangers, she said. I'm going to stop you right there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what does this remind you of? Amber Geiger situation, right? So, only difference is they refused to even identify the officer that killed Michael Dean. So they try to bring the Texas Rangers involved in this. And they're gonna probably like stall, procrastinate until they finally decided to release the officer's name. They may fire them, they may press charges. We really don't know. But at the same time, he's still placed on paid administrative leave. And then we still don't know who the officer is. Temple Police Department didn't release information that someone died in an officer-involved shooting until Tuesday afternoon. When asked why that fact was omitted from the initial news release after the man already has been declared dead, spokesman Chris Christoph said the incident occurred in public, meaning that the vehicle had guess what? Here's what I'm about to tell you. Had the potential of being easily recognized. We wanted an opportunity to notify Dean's family prior to releasing the information to the public. Christine Dean said Temple Police didn't tell his family Michael was dead until about 1:30 a.m. More than 5 hours after he was shot. He was pronounced dead at 8:26 p.m. shortly after the shooting occurred at about 8:15 p.m. I'm going to stop you right there again. So you're telling me that, it's been 5 hours since you notified the families of Michael Dean that their son was dead, and he was shot at 8:15 p.m. He was pronounced dead at 8:26, and then 5 hours later, which was 1:30 that morning, you finally going to tell Michael Dean's family that their son is dead. You didn't even tell them what happened to their son. You didn't even know where the body was. Just like I told you on one of my videos, it sounds to me it was a cover-up. It was a cover-up with the Temple Police Department. Because why would you even, if the man was shot at 8:15 and he was pronounced dead at 8:26, and then 5 hours later you decided to tell the family, or you notify the family, that Michael Dean is dead. Isn't that funny? And then the police detectives, one cop said that that Michael Dean came out of the car and ran towards the officer. That's why the officer shot and killed him. And now the detective said that he was unarmed. He wasn't even posed as a threat. And all of a sudden he was shot and killed. And then the family don't even know anything about this until 5 hours later. Isn't that interesting? I'm going to go ahead and read this. It said, Christoph said Wednesday evening that the notification process was time-consuming. The area was subject to extensive investigative procedure to include stabilizing the scene, maintaining the flow of traffic, contacting and arrival of all necessary resources and off-duty personnel to include justice of the peace, contacting all the investigators to the scene to include the Texas Rangers, and confirming the identity of the decrease and the identifiers. Decrease. Contact informed for next of kin, he said in a statement. The officer involved shooting wasn't listed on LexisNexis community crime map, which is what Temple Police Department uses to list its reports to inform the public of incidents in the community. Michael was almost 4 years old when the Deans adopted him and his four siblings. He is not a criminal. He wasn't out there committing crimes, his mother said. They're making it seem like he was a bad person. He was like any other kid in his teens and 20s, Christine Dean said. They get to know everything and make some decisions that aren't smart, like mouthing off or fighting with his siblings. Dean had only misdemeanor convictions on his criminal record. Michael was a good-hearted person, she said. She said he didn't do anything for he'll do anything for anyone and gave God credit for everything. Oh, wow. So I'm reading this article. It said autopsy result pending. The family was brought nothing to prove Dean was dead, according to his mother. Bell County Justice of the Peace Ted Dofield issued the order of an autopsy and said the body was sent Tuesday morning to Southwestern Institute of Forensic Sciences. Dean's body hadn't been returned by press time Wednesday, Dofield said. Dean was shot in the head, Dofield said. Christine Dean believes her son was shot more than once. I feel like someone messed up. I really do, Christine said. I want to know why my son died on the concrete. I've never heard of anyone not giving information about their loved one. If he did something wrong and you had to do it, so be it, but tell me. Dean is the father of 3 elementary-age children. I didn't have the words to tell them, Christine said. They just hung onto my neck. All I could tell them was to remember their dads loved them forever. And that is the end of the article. Ladies and gentlemen, like I told you in my second video, Michael Dean was killed the same day on one of his daughter's 6th birthday. She just turned 6 years old. And he was saving he was saving money for her birthday cake. And all of a sudden, her birthday would never be the same again. Her life wouldn't be the same again because she lost her father. And from yesterday and the day before yesterday when I did this story, everybody tried to downplay. I know a lot of trolls going to say, well, he probably do something. He probably deserved what he did. First of all, this guy was unarmed. That's number one. Number two, all the stories that the police tell the public didn't add up. One officer even said that he came out of his car charging to the officer, and the officer shot and killed him, shot him in the head. Okay? He was unarmed. He wasn't even even the detective even said that he wasn't even a threat to that officer. But yet, he's on paid administrative leave, and then the officer wasn't even identified. They didn't identify the officer as of yet. But three girls just lost a father. 3 little girls. And obviously, the mother of Michael Dean wants answers. The father of Michael Dean wants answers. And it seems that they're not giving them answers that they wanted. Now, the attorney Lee Merritt, who's become the family attorney, he basically told us on his Twitter, just I think yesterday, that he has 3 children, Michael Dean, and one of them just turned 6 years old on Monday, the same day that he was killed by Temple police. So this is another unarmed black man being murdered by police, and the family of Michael Dean still want answers, and the police haven't given them answers yet. So my thoughts and prayers goes to the Dean family. This is just a tragedy to lose a son that has 3 daughters, and one of them, again, just turned 6 on Monday, the same day that her father was killed by a police officer. And obviously, the families of Michael Dean deserves answers. So, for those of you who claim that, Michael Dean probably did something, or he probably have a weapon, and prove evidence, even the detective himself, the detective even told the family he didn't have a gun, that he wasn't even a threat, he wasn't even a danger to the officer that killed him. So I feel so saddened because of one of his daughters who just turned 6. Her birthday won't be the same again. Her life. Matter of fact, 3 of his children, their lives wouldn't be the same again because their father is no longer there. So it's tragic, and we demand justice for the families of Michael Dean. They deserve it. They want answers. And if I give you more information about this case, I will do another update. But in the meantime, this is what happened. And hopefully the black YouTubers and the mainstream media probably will talk about the story. But the thing of it is that the 28-year-old man, the young brother, Michael Dean, didn't deserve to die like this. Let me know what you think about this case. Like, click, subscribe, and remember to click the notification bell for all the news and commentary. And with that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.